Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Our Home, Our Life. Today is day 4 on our anxiety devotional. Bear with me. I have a head cold, sinus, but I'm going to try and get through this so that we don't miss a day of these devotionals on the 7 storms of life. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and this one is called A Posture of Worship. The bondage of anxiety has the potential to keep us from maneuvering into the plans and purposes of God. Your soul is cherished by God, and you would not be here unless the Lord had much to display in and through your life in your unique sphere of influence. To agree with a life of habitual fear is to agree with a life void of faith. God always responds to faith, so choosing to trust Him paves the way for the miraculous. One way to position our hearts for this kind of faith that overcomes fear is through a posture of worship. In hindsight to the days of Moses, we can see that he was purposed for great things. Early on, after the killing of an Egyptian man, Moses assumed posture of disqualification. At the onset, his grave mistake seemed unforgivable, and the shame of his actions drove him into the wilderness. It took years before he finally encountered God again. Even when the plans of his life were revealed, the great responsibility seemed too much to bear. His mind had not shifted, so lingering and persistent fears from his past came back to haunt him. He was focused more on his shortcomings and the possibilities of failure than the God who chose him for this task. Because of this, time and time again, we see God reassuring Moses that the task was not his to complete alone. The feat was a master plan of the mastermind deliverer who uses human vessels to carry out his plan. Now you best believe that the posture of disqualification is easy to stay frozen in. Reminders of your past insecurities and doubts can sometimes be consistent. But once you give in to God's reassurance, like Moses eventually did, now that is his plan that takes over. However disqualified you may feel, God can have his way when you display a heart that is yielded to his delivering strategy. When we position our hearts in worship rather than disqualifications, we are telling God that we are in agreement with his purposes. It is his master plan, not ours, and his goal is deliverance. So how do we shift to a posture of worship? My encouragement to you would be to do what has worked in the past. Is it memorizing scripture on God's faithfulness? Is it journaling about your fears and making them a topic of discussion with Jesus? Even surrounding yourself with a prayerful community who shakes you out of a posture of disqualification can change everything. Approach Jesus today with a posture of worship. Makes you a candidate for miraculous deliverance. Reflection. How can you relate to the feelings that Moses might have been going through before he came out of the land of Midian? What is your favorite way to take a posture of worship? How do you plan to worship God this week? Now we're going to read the scriptures. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. It is like 5 in the morning, and I am at my worst with the sinuses at 5 in the morning. So thanks for sticking with me on this. Scripture, Exodus 3, verse 4. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses, and he said, Here I am. The next one is Psalms 37, 8 and 9. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. For the evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. And then Proverbs 20, Proverbs 20, verse 24. A man's steps are from the Lord. How then can man understand his ways? And that was it for day 4. So we all can, I think we've all been to a place where we feel like we are not worthy, can disqualify ourselves, and many times because of fear or our past, or believing we can't do it. Well, we can't do it. We can't do it without God. And if he has called us to do it, he has called us for different things, for different folks. If God has called you to do it, you can do it. Don't ever disqualify yourself. Be ready and be willing to be that empty vessel that God can use. Because, like I said, God uses humans to do things for his purpose, for the kingdom. We just have to be willing candidates, and know that even though maybe sometimes we might feel disqualified, we put our trust in God. There's nothing we cannot do if God is calling us to do it. So don't ever doubt yourself, and be ready. And like it says, be in a worship. Let God know your heart, your true heart, and what you want to do for him and for the kingdom. And he will use you no matter your past. Go before him and ask for forgiveness for those things. Leave them at his feet, and know that you've been forgiven and your past does not matter anymore. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for, we'll be on 5 tomorrow. So make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, hit all so you get all notifications. And we hope that you are enjoying these, because we sure are. But until next time, from our home to yours, God bless.